We'll talk to you after, Orlando. We'll talk to you after.
Hey guys, it's Lindsey hosting with SPS back in the building for another SPS Edge Show. We got a great group. Don't worry about Terry McCord Jr. He's out negotiating contracts. They pulled him in on that SEC contract discussion. So Terry's putting something together with that. I want to thank Orlando Watkins. He's always with us, but he decided to show his face. He's been in different time zones on numerous occasions and whatnot, but we have our stalwarts and John and Patrick Rutherford holding us down. John, we appreciate you putting all that gas in the private jet. They talk about how much it costs to put gas in those private jets for you to fly down to Texas and go over to Oklahoma, help them with them discussions about the college playoff expansion and the SEC and all that, but we'll talk about that in a moment. And Patrick, appreciate you too, man. I know you was in Emoni Bates' ear and Bronny's ear trying to hype him up for the EYBL just this past weekend, man. You guys are all over the place. So with that, again, it's Lindsey Hudson. Thank you guys for being with us. We got a great show. As they always say, ladies first. We got a great discussion we can have, guys, about Naomi versus Megyn. Naomi Osaka versus Megyn Kelly. Oh, man, it was a little blow up over her SI cover. Beautiful Naomi was on the SI cover, guys, and Megyn Kelly, who does represent a conservative entity, Fox News, she was really quick to tweet saying that, oh, if Naomi is so concerned about her mental health, why is she putting herself out there? And oh boy, y'all messed with the wrong one. As Kevin Hart say, what did he say, Patrick? You got the right one today. They messed up because he said, had you done your journalistic duty, you would have found out that I did that over a year ago. I did that a year ago. So y'all so quick to jump on me and sound crazy. She later deleted the tweet, but you know how the Twitterverse is. Once it's out there, it's out there. Y'all tried to jump on me. Y'all was wrong. So I'll start with you, Orlando. Are you familiar with that subject at all? I'm just curious to know. Have you heard about what was going on between them two?
A little bit. I'm jumping in here behind. But the thing is, what I think what the media needs to learn is to leave Naomi alone. She's proven her case. She's an intelligent young athlete. I'm just trying to figure out what Sports Illustrated swimsuit has to do with the competing and how does that all mesh to get in there. So they just need to leave her alone, period.
Leave baby girl alone. And what they need to know is that they mess with the wrong. Now, to Orlando's point, before I get to Patrick and John on that, you know, I wonder if they do, as we say, are they trolling? Meaning that I'm sure that Megyn Kelly probably doesn't want to come off incorrect, but they're so quick to want to jump and use their little Twitter gangster fingers, you know, to get something started, and they got all this wrong information. Patrick, when you heard about this whole thing about Megyn Kelly, excuse my language, this grown ass woman going on after Naomi, and then on top of that, you know, Naomi calling out her journalistic integrity. So you didn't even do your research. You didn't even know. I mean, what do you think about that?
It shows how the coverage goes for outside of sports too with those conservatives. They tend to stick their foot in their mouths or don't really do their full research and just going off of what they think their following wants to hear. She embarrassed herself, but she does all the time, and I guess it's her job. You know what I mean? It's her job to embarrass herself to one party to appeal to another, I guess. I don't know. But forget her. I don't even want to talk about her. I'm a huge fan of Naomi Osaka. LeBron James and Maverick Carter produced a truly hell of a documentary where they did about 3 episodes. It was about 3 hours long. And
what is it on? Help us be familiar with. I want to check it out myself.
It is on Netflix. It's on the hottest platform in the world. It's on Netflix.
Naomi.
It's called Naomi Osaka. It's her name.
I'm on it. I mean, I'm on that today. I'm sorry.
Megyn is just an opportunist, but I like.
They mess with the wrong one. Like
they definitely mess with the wrong one.
Absolutely.
The wrong one. Aaron knows.
At least we can agree on some things, Aaron.
Oh, shots fired. Here we go.
But
before we get the shots fired, let's highlight our sponsors, man. Horatio Williams Foundation. Shout out to H. He did a great thing, man. We watched Space Jam, the new legacy John, we watched that Horatio run out 2 movie theaters at Imagine Movie Theaters in Royal Oak. Shout out to him. I had all the kids out there watching Space Jam. Shout out to Gilead Science as well, and Dick Sporting Good. But H did a great thing. So, John, when you hear about this, and I know that your household don't want to keep discussing. I know Patrick is just disgusted with it. He don't want to talk about it no more. But when you hear about this whole ordeal with, a Fox News, face and influencer, you got Aaron laughing. He getting ready. Oh, for the record, Aaron got his top 5 dead or alive ready. So we'll be ready for that when that time comes. But now, tell me, John, what do you think about this? And I don't want to make this political, but how much does FOX play a role in this response? Are they putting a battery in Megyn Kelly's back as it relates to this, you think?
Well, they don't care. I mean, Rupert Murdoch has built an empire on deceiving people and delivering information that is not 100% accurate. That's what they do. And they play to a certain portion of America, and it's worked for them at the bank at the end of the quarter, and they're going to keep doing it. And it's sad. It really is. It's sad that out of everything that we're dealing with in this country right now, drive your car. Look at the roads we're driving on. Take a look when you go over a bridge and you're at a light. Look at the foundation. Look at our system of rain with all the rain we've had, where people have their basements flooded. It's their cost because we can't even take care of our infrastructure. We're worried about a young woman being in a Sports Illustrated swimsuit. It's the dumbest shit there is known to man. And this is what Fox does for a living. That's how Rupert Murdoch cashes his checks and keeps all his stuff that he has. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame because I watched the documentary with Patrick, and this is a very talented kid who Lindsay hasn't been, she was homeschooled. She's not a person
social
that has any kind of social interaction. She lives a very closed life, and she had a good relationship with Kobe Bryant, and Kobe told her all the stuff, all the distractions, keep your craft at the top of the list. Keep what you do at the top of the list. But you're going to, she's in fashion. Everybody's pulling at her arm. So, for Megyn Kelly, who it makes me sick to my stomach when I read that she did that. And what I liked was the editor of Sports Illustrated said, you know what? You brand yourself as a journalist because you don't want to have to stand behind what you say when the content is questioned. Oh, this is my opinion. This is what Fox does. They hide behind what they say by saying, this is my opinion. Well, in this particular case, she didn't do her homework. She didn't know when the shoot took place, and she didn't know the time frame, but she didn't care. She rallied, she threw a bone, a piece of meat to her public, to people in this country who don't care about the truth. Lindsay, all they care about is hate.
Yeah. I mean, and to your point, I want to stay with you a little bit on that too. To Aaron's point, Aaron called it out, it's political, the GOP aspect that whatever they can do to rally. Aaron, I appreciate you, Aaron, saying the GOP platform initiative is still out there strong. And it's that red meat thing. All right, what can we do? Is she going to be somebody we go after? Can we beat up on? And it's so obvious that she's a brown woman in this world, black woman that is. They want to go after her, and the facts don't matter. She said that was a year ago. And here's the killer, though, John. Here's the killer. she's going after her saying, how dare you come on a Sports Illustrated cover when you're supposed to have a mental health issue? So you just going after people that speak on mental health. What about the mental health advocates that are out there? It's like they are so desperate to say whatever they can that it's almost like saying, you had a traumatic childhood, boo-hoo. And it's like, are you serious? But this is what we're dealing with. To the political part, John, and I know we don't always talk politics on this show, but as Orlando once named the show, this is a progressive talk show. Do you really see the GOP, to Aaron's point, trying to find some targets going into 2022, the midterms, as well as 2024, some people that they can kind of beat up on? It was LeBron a few years ago with the shut up and dribble type thing. You think they're trying to shift and find some more targets they can beat up on, or just seeing what sticks?
Oh, every day. I mean, they're at this 24/7, 365. This is their mission. Okay, this is what they do. They have a hard time dealing with anybody that isn't a white Christian in this country.
Did you put the quotes up? White Christian. You said white Christian.
That's right. I mean, if you look at the GOP today, this is where their base is. Okay, these people rally around and use religion in politics, and they have a certain way. And here's the phrase right now. It's socialism, okay? Now, yesterday I saw a guy that is in charge of the largest political action committee for the GOP. He controls the money. He's the main guy. And an attorney and a journalist put the definition of socialism on the screen and said, how do you get using socialism here? How is what you're talking about? Because what you're really talking about is people of color. So where does socialism fit in here?
So they're using socialism as a new buzzword.
What they're going to do is they're going to use and say, see this, here's this girl. She has a Japanese mother and an African father.
Haitian.
And Haitian father. And see, look at this. See, this is what they're doing. Okay? So they're going to use anything they possibly can every day to keep that hate flowing in that person. To keep their beliefs that they are better than. I'm going to tell you something. This country, I'm 72 years old. I've been involved in politics up to here. Okay, I've been involved in it heavy. Okay, I have never seen such outright bullshit that I have from the GOP. They're getting worse by the day. They're not getting better. And to use this is just, they're going to use something else the next day. They're going to use the lady that found Black Lives Matter. They're going to use anything. Watch out, Lindsay, Patrick, and Orlando. They may use you one day.
So watch out. Well, to our viewers who are watching, you may say, hey, I thought this was a sports show. What's going on? But, I mean, sports intersects all parts of life. And, John, I can appreciate you.
Well, I'll tell you what else. You didn't see what they did this week with here was a United States senator from, I believe, Arkansas that said, when you're woke, you will go broke. Hey, NBA, talking about the ratings were up 32% in the finals that they were last year, but they were down from 2019. And he's using, well, the NBA, you're too progressive. you're woke, so you're gonna go broke. All you people that go woke are gonna go broke.
I've heard that.
The United States Senator.
So they're using these talk. Shout out to Dame Dash, former partner of Jay-Z. I know you got some Dame Dash lying around, John and Patrick. I know both of y'all got some Dame Dash and some Jay-Z ready to go. But his response was, woke does not equal broke. And I think that's important. I just think it's also important that our listeners, who always in some cases may want to separate politics from everything, we have to understand that it's all weaved in here. And when you have the Naomi Osaka, who have these great platforms, they are going to be targets. And lastly, I'll say this, man, it's almost a disrespect to the GOP's base, because you are agreeing that they must not be their own thinkers, that they'll just take whatever fodder they give them and say, I'll run with that. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see what happens with that. Shout out to Naomi for what she's been doing. And I appreciate you guys sharing on that. As they say in The Godfather, as much as we try to get away from politics, it pulls us back in, especially when you have a lot of influence or whatnot. So we'll go to one more segment before we take a break. And I think a great segment to talk about. We'll talk about, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Patrick.
One more thing I want to say before we leave off from Naomi.
She got a boyfriend, man. So before you
there's a thing in life. I know he can never mess with me, but I
got you, baby.
He's a kid, but there's one thing that people don't do. Sometimes we get so caught up in the now. Appreciate the greatness while it's there. Appreciate how great she is on that court and allow her to be her, because I promise you right now, that girl is highly intelligent and she doesn't need this. She's not a camera hound. She does not need this attention. She's made $50 million in a year. She could play a couple more years and you nenever see her again. I'm serious.
Patrick, I'm glad you brought that up.
Great in photography, and she's got a great eye for fashion. She's the opposite of Michael Jordan, but in the same greatness. You know what I mean? Like Mike, the thing that stuck out with me when he said in the Last Dance was he had an extraordinary talent of being here in the moment, being in the moment. I noticed in her documentary, didn't like that.
Right.
It made her comfortable to think down the line and to not necessarily be stuck in the moment all the time. Right. But go back to it on that court. I'm telling you, when she's focused and got it going, nobody beat her.
Yeah. Patrick, I want to thank you for saying that, because what you've done in that brief moment saying that, you just made me project her to someone that we all can look at and have a great respect for. It makes me think of Muhammad Ali. She's young, she's influential, she's charismatic, she has character. And if you just take that and continue to push that along, she can be very powerful. And I would never say that about anybody. But when you talk about what she's been going through and how she's being basically persecuted, and she hasn't even made it about race, so to speak. She just been like, look, it's just tight out here. But she challenged the system. So I encourage her to do it like that.
And she's getting stronger by doing so. By going through these things, she's a highly intelligent person. When something bad happens, she doesn't dwell in it or not. She does the work. She talks to somebody. She talks to her mother and her father and her coaches, and she does the work to get through. I believe say that one more. You said how old she is. I think she's 23.
How old is she?
Okay. She might be 24 now.
Every blatant attack against her only makes her stronger.
Right. And it doesn't seem like every blatant attack backfires too.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything they do, people like, oh, for real?
She wanted to do what Megyn Kelly was talking about. She wants to bring attention to something. It's the reason she stepped out of the Olympics. She wants to bring attention. And she's not afraid to tell people, hey, I'm not happy right now, and I'm having some mental toughness right now. And it takes somebody on that status level to get everybody else to say, wow, okay, this is okay.
Lindsay, when you watch the documentary, keep a close eye on her face. Okay, look at her and look at her as a human being and what you do in your work, okay?
Yes.
And
her facial expression, her body language.
Exactly. Just watch it and look at her.
I will do that. Well, we can go on and on about this, but what we'll do is, and I know this will make Patrick happy too. We'll keep Naomi in our rotation. We'll do a Naomi watch. We'll follow back up on her, keep on her, and keep watching her. And I'm grateful for the in-depth conversation we had about her, and I'm glad we were able to bring it. I'm glad what you guys brought to it. Let's talk about the NBA Finals. Could you imagine that we led with a different story? And I gotta say this, man. I don't want to take anything away from Giannis. When I put this out here and I talked about the topic, about his performance, but also to even mention Chris Paul again to talk about, who's going to get back sooner. Will Chris Paul ever get one? I do not want to take any away from Giannis Antetokounmpo and his performance and winning a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'll just start with him. Orlando, I mean, what's your take on his performance? And I also want to bring Aaron in as well. Aaron sent me a great note, a few nights ago, and I appreciate that. It was Tony Kukoc, and he was talking about Michael Jordan, and he called Michael Jordan a GOAT, but he didn't call him the best player. So now we're getting into this thing about rating performances, and I know it was only one world championship, and I know it was only one experience compared to that. But Orlando, I'll start with you. Just what do you think about Giannis's? Not only his season, but his finals run in that last game. I mean, he gave him a 50 ball, and he showed up at.
Yeah, he gave them everything that he had, and it's a shame. It's sort of his performance. I mean, during the finals, during the playoffs, during the season, has always seemed to be kind of dampered. For some reason, he's just not that personality that he should be, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm sure Patrick will probably have the answer to that. But for me, it's just mystifying that, you go out, you make a statement long before you even get to the point where you're competing for the finals and saying that loyalty that we look for, I'm staying here until we win it.
And everybody said that was a bad move, myself included. Remember that a couple seasons ago? Like, dude, you gonna stay? Like, you'll never win in Milwaukee. You'll never win in Milwaukee.
But he made the statement. He held true to the statement. And you can't do anything but take your hat off to him. That was a hell of a performance.
And he made that statement even when they wouldn't seat him for tacos a couple seasons ago. Remember, they didn't even give him a spot at the restaurant for tacos. People were like, man, that's Giannis, but he still did it,
But I think I know if you're aware, he's shooting for a Chick-fil-A spot. And I think the day after he was in that line, he look at
Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah,
I love that. Yeah. Patrick, your guy. Is Giannis your guy? We never really talked about you and your relationship with Giannis. What's your take on that? You shake your head, but he's the man of the hour right now. All right, here's a question I have for you. Some can put an asterisk by the bubble championship. I'm not taking anything from the Lakers. I'm looking at the TV right now. They're having a parade in Milwaukee right now. But does Giannis get an asterisk because the Brooklyn Nets went down? Because our guy LeBron James went down, or is this a straight up, no questions asked, he got it?
It's pro sports. Things happen. If you're gonna put an asterisk down for people getting hurt, you're gonna have to do it every single year. For every championship, not even just basketball. Look at the Super Bowl last year. Chiefs weren't healthy. So and then you can't put a bubble on. Asterisk on the bubble either. Those were the best basketball players in the world. They were on a basketball court. They played basketball.
12-man quarters.
Same as they always do.
Yeah.
If some of them had mental blocks and all that happens in real life and regular basketball too. So
we just saw our guy Aaron post that Giannis' performance was just amazing and what he did. That performance Giannis put on was one of the greatest ever, just outstanding. Now, maybe I shouldn't have said it was Aaron that said it, Patrick, but what do you think about that statement? If it was just another person saying that was a great, I don't want you to disagree with Aaron because it's Aaron, but what do you think? Was that one of the greatest performances? What do you think?
No. Giannis isn't my guy. He played great, but let's not do this. We do this with everything nowadays. We got to rank it with the all-time greats and all this stuff. Like, bro, he played.
Let's talk about a closeout game, though.
Yeah, we're
Close
talking
out
about
game.
we're talking about closeout game. They won 4 straight. They won 4 straight. And if it wasn't for Middleton and the whole team, like it's not a solo thing, you know. The Bucks got better because the others stepped up and played better than they did before. Middleton became steady in the finals and not up and down. Okay, and Drew Holiday stepped up. And Giannis is a phenomenal player. He's a top 5 player in the world. There's millions of people playing basketball, and he's one of the best. You know,
Aaron said even with a 50-piece, Patrick, even with a 50-piece, that's what Aaron said.
Rod Wilson coming in with 4 straight and a 50 ball.
4 straight and a 50 ball. That's right, Rob. My consigliere, my vortex consigliere.
But where do we then, like, if we talk about this, then where do we rank it at? Like, like, you know what I mean? There's been so many finals performances. Okay, Bucks top 3 was better than Phoenix top 3. Yes, that's true.
You agree with that?
Yes, that's true.
Aaron say, "Wow, Patrick, you harder than me." Yeah, man.
I mean, you know, it's just, and then it's like Orlando was talking about, you know, and everybody's saying, "Oh, it's harder to win it at home." The man was on a super team. What are we talking about?
Who's on
Giannis.
the super team? You called Milwaukee. Wait a minute, Patrick.
Giannis Antetokounmpo plays on a super team.
How can you?
What
I
are we
don't
talking
know.
about?
You gotta wait a minute.
I got a bad connection. Bad connection.
How are they a super team?
God, fix the connection.
Okay,
I heard Patrick say that Giannis plays on a super team.
Is it a fair statement to say that super teams have 3 All-Stars or more? Is that fair to say?
Oh, we're getting in the woods. We're getting technical now.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
we're getting technical. Yes, in the woods. So
they got 3. They're All-Stars.
So Patrick, I'm gonna try.
What was Kobe in the 3-peat of the Lakers?
Okay, let me. Wait a minute. Hold on. Before we go to Orlando, question, Patrick.
Go ahead.
Yes, they may be all-star. Are they stars? Are they top 5? Are they all NBA players?
That's not what a super team is.
A super team are some of the best players in the league. They may be all-star, but these are not like reserve. What did Rod say? LeBron averaged a triple-dub over the course of a series, didn't he? He in a losing effort in the finals. Like, you know, I just can't get over the super team comment.
I mean, you're saying that all those guys aren't top 5 guys. LeBron played on a super team with Kyrie and Kevin Love. Kevin Love wasn't top 5. Kyrie may not even have been top 5 either. May have been top 10, but Kevin Love wasn't top 10. Chris Bosh wasn't top 5 when he was in Miami.
I'm gonna lose some sleep tonight because I'm gonna be still trying to figure out. The sad part about this, what pisses me off, Patrick, is that there's validity to your statement when you talk about all-star players and whatnot, but I just can't. I wasn't ready to hear that because I have not heard that all year long about Giannis playing on the super team.
Steven Jackson been saying it all since they won it. We keep praising this guy like he did something that nobody else did, bro. He played on a super team, bro, and they didn't. It's not like they drafted all these boys. They didn't draft all these boys.
Terry Senior is in. Terry Senior. Patrick is right. What's up, Terry? We couldn't get your son out here negotiating other deals, man. Appreciate you saying that. That's Terry Senior right
now. Lindsay, real quick. What Patrick is, hold on, Pat. What Patrick is a future NBA owner. What Patrick is saying is they earn their money.
They earn their money. Period. I ain't impressed. This is what you're supposed to do.
I ain't impressed what you did. You did what I paid you for. Next.
Yeah, okay. You also got to remember.
What's up, Terry?
If we taking it, if you want to take it there in the ownership, if we talking about paychecks, baby, that's big 3 money. They all getting $100 million plus $200 million.
Okay. So wait a minute.
They are.
So let me think about Phoenix. Let's shift to Phoenix real quick. You got Booker. You got CP3. Would you say that was a third? Huh?
They don't have a big 3. They had a balanced team. That's why everybody kept saying Phoenix has one of the most balanced teams in the league, which is true. But they don't have 3 superstars or 3 stars, and I'm not gonna sit here and call the Bucks no superstars. Giannis is the only superstar that they have.
Okay, well, for the second, I'm gonna get ready to go to your dad.
The 2 stars are big enough stars to be a big 3.
You're saying they're a super team with no they're a super team with no superstars. That's what you just said.
No, I said Giannis was a superstar.
But you said they were a super team, though.
I said they're a super team, but they don't have 3 superstars. They're not all superstars. Chris Bosh wasn't a superstar in Miami, bro.
We gonna come back to that one. And I'm gonna leave it with that line from Menace to Society. So you know you done messed up, don't you? You know they messed up.
I probably can name 4 or 5 power forwards that was better than Chris Bosh when he was in the league. He wasn't no superstar.
I got a question on deck for John, but before I say that, and after we wrap up this segment, we're gonna take a break. Brought to you by Team Michigan. Aaron says that's takeaway. Go ahead, Patrick. What you want to repeat Aaron's comment?
Aaron just wrote on there. I don't want to take away from Giannis at all. I just wanted to say that it was a phenomenal performance. I don't want to take away from what he did. He did some of the greatest things that I've ever seen in basketball. That block was one of the greatest things I've seen. I just don't. For what Aaron Mays just said, I don't want to take away from Giannis at all.
Yeah. Here's a question. Speaking of taking away, I got this question for the coach on the panel. Well, we got a lot of coaches on the panel. We all got our coaching chops. But to you, John, I was rooting for Monty. I know Monty. I should say I met him. I shouldn't say I know him like that. Somebody once said, you can say you know somebody, but do they know you and what do they think about you? But I was definitely rooting for him. Do you think, coach for coach, did the Phoenix Suns get out-coached? Did Budenholzer out-coach Monty Williams? What do you think about that?
Whoa, that's a good question.
No, I don't think so. Guys, I hear people say stuff, like, oh, well, they were here, they were in this set, and they were in that set. And I was showing Patrick in Game 5. Booker had the ball, and here came Coward to set a screen. He said, get away. And he pointed to Bridges. He told Bridges, I want you, because of who was guarding Bridges. He wanted the switch, and he didn't like who he was going to get with Coward, so he brought Bridges to get the boy from Notre Dame on him, because that's who he wanted, okay? So
what's the last name? What's the last name?
No,
the last name of the guy with the dreads that shoot the threes.
Coward.
No, it's not. But that's who you're talking about. I'm trying to fix it. I can't think of his name because you said the wrong one. It's on the tip of my tongue. The shooter from Phoenix that's been on a lot of teams. He played with LeBron. The boy that shoot the threes.
The boy that went to Marquette.
He went to Marquette.
He wears 99.
He wears 99.
Oh, Jay Crowder.
Crowder.
My bad.
Jay Crowder.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah, no problem. We got a Crowder. Hey, everybody said Crowder.
I didn't see anything.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that
did that.
In fact, I thought the guy from Milwaukee, I thought that when it came down to the game, I kept telling Patrick, oh, man, he's running the shot clock down too far. And puts his team in jeopardy, and that's how he almost lost Game 5. But I think Monty did a great job with that team, and they have a good team, and I enjoyed the series, and I want to say that Giannis, he did some fantastic things, but one of the things that I think he does better than most is transition from offense to defense and defense to offense. My goodness, man.
Seamlessly.
I mean,
he's not a liability on either side of the ball.
Oh, no. Man, I'm going to tell you.
He's an asset.
He plays hard. Man, he plays hard. And he is so explosive off his feet and so fast. He jumped. He reminds me of Dennis Rodman getting off the floor. Dennis Rodman always got from the floor to the basket quicker than anybody, exploding out the floor. And Giannis does phenomenal stuff, and he doesn't quit. He doesn't give up on the plays. And that to me was but he did that all the games. I thought,
I want to throw this back at you, Rod. My guy Rod said maybe the last 5 minutes of the game, Bud may have outcoached Monty. You think the last 5 minutes, or was it a done deal?
Well, here's my opinion. I don't think it was Monty. I think it was Booker. I can tell you 3 games, and I'm going to say this. Booker is a phenomenal shooter. He shoots the basketball. He's phenomenal.
He's what you call the green. You got the green light. You got the green light to shoot. You don't have to worry about nothing. They want him to shoot.
He's not a closer yet.
Yeah.
He's only 24 years old, and he's not a closer. He's not a closer. Look at that play where Drew Holiday takes the ball away. This is a 1-point game. You got the basketball. He shoots his dribble square up from the elbow as good as anybody. He had that shot. He didn't take it. He went in and dribbled in to Bobby Portis and Giannis standing like this. So what does he do? He makes the cardinal sin and turns his back to the basket, and there's Drew Holiday waiting for him.
Right there. Maybe he shouldn't have been complaining about that pickup run years ago when he got double teamed. Remember that, Patrick? He was in the pickup run, and he was getting mad because he got we doubling now? Yeah.
And then when he goes to the basket,
Rod says facts. Thank you, Rod.
He does. I don't think Monty got. I don't think he got out coach. I think the players.
You got a young team.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I think Bridges is going to be better, and I like that. Devin Booker, instead of waiting to fly with Middleton and Holiday on a plane to Tokyo, he was so pissed off, he got his own plane and left right from that stadium, got on a plane.
But you got to get beyond that. You got to get beyond. This is what I want to take a break. Go ahead, Patrick.
He's got some work to do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Got some work to do.
I agree. And unfortunately, the great Kobe Bryant isn't there to continue to help him with that. Let's do this really quick, guys. Let's take a break. And I'm going to switch our agenda around a little bit. I'm going to push college football back a little bit because we got a lot of basketball going. When we come back, we'll talk about CP3 briefly. Will he get a ring? Will Monty get a chance to get a ring? We'll talk about the top 5 that are alive. I know Aaron May's got his top 5 shooting guards on deck ready to go. We're ready Monty Bates as well. And then we'll finish up with some college football expansion talk. So with that, I want to take a break again. Thank you, Horatio Williams Foundation. Thank you, Dick Sporting Good and Gilead Science. But also want to thank Team Michigan. We got some great things happening in October 31st, that is, with some basketball. And take it away, Team Michigan.
You know who it is, baby. And I'm here to tell you about the new youth basketball tournament in Michigan. Team Michigan Basketball has done the work. It's prime time. They are PTPers, baby. Get ready for a scary good basketball tournament Halloween weekend at the venue of all venues, Baby Grand Traverse Resort. I'm talking about a diaper dandy, baby. I mean awesome with a capital A. A basketball tournament that is designed with the entire family in mind. Escape to a 900-acre northern Michigan resort just outside of Traverse City. Enjoy 54 holes of championship golf, spa, indoor-outdoor tennis, indoor water playground, fitness center, private beach club, 4 restaurants, shopping, and now basketball. I can't wait, baby! It's the stay to play that will make your day! Halloween weekend 2021. Check it out at www.boosketball.com. Register your team soon. This one is going to fill up quickly. A basketball tournament at a resort. That's a slam, bam, jam, baby!
That's right. We're back at it again, folks. It's Lindsey Hudson with SPS. Thank you to Orlando Watkins, John, and Patrick Rutherford. We having some good times here. We're still talking basketball. We had a great conversation about the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't want to spend too much time on the team that didn't win a championship, but the CP3. There was rumors floating around. He has this option, man. This player, I was like, what, $44 million? And if he doesn't pick that up, we're talking about $10 million. Rumors floating around that the Lakers may be interested in him. I mean, my question to the panel, and I'll start with you, Orlando, will CP3 win a championship, or will he be the modern day Charles Barkley / Karl Malone?
I think the only chance he's had, and I'm leaning towards Magic, because when Magic speaks, I have a tendency to listen. I think he'll be a Laker, and I think that's going to be his best shot at it, and his only shot at it at this point.
So within the next 2 seasons, we got to win it. We got to just come back and do it right now, huh?
He's got to come back and do it right now. I would say within 1 or 2 seasons.
So we're talking about a Lakers Nets final, maybe. Okay.
But when Magic steps up like that, and Magic starts making predictions, Magic don't make predictions. He makes things happen.
Yeah, you don't maybe. Then I also think it's something to be said about, was it game 5 in Phoenix when courtside with a bottle of tequila was this man LeBron James. I mean, that was no movie. He said, "Oh, Patrick, what, man? What?"
Anytime anybody meets with LeBron, hey, LeBron recruiting.
Well, I mean, he did it with AD.
Hey,
they talk about
that's been the history of what you say, Orlando. You see, that's what he does, right?
Him and Dame Lillard went to a girls' basketball game, an WNBA game, and they're saying Dame's coming to the Lakers. Now y'all saying Chris Paul coming to the Lakers.
Okay, so question to you, Patrick. Where is Chris Paul going to be next season?
He's going to be in Phoenix. He's gonna decline his player option for $44 million because you're only guaranteed $44 million with that. He's going to sign for about 3-4 more years in Phoenix for $100-something million. Get that 100 ball guaranteed. Simple as that.
James Jones, the general manager for the Phoenix Suns, is that a good deal?
Yeah.
Or are you leveraging your future?
You're not really. It's not your future. It's 3 years, 4 years from now. Chris Paul played like he played this year for the next 2 years. Even if he gets older or whatever, and it's time.
He was lucky he didn't get injured this year. Because he injury prone. I don't know if he got some vibranium from Wakanda or something like that this season, and he made Chris. Hey, because I was ready for Chris to pull up lane. So you're saying, Patrick, that Chris Paul will return? He did say he's returning. He's not retiring. He returned to the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Now, will the Phoenix Suns advance farther in the Western Conference playoff? Will they be in the Western Conference Finals?
Not if everybody's healthy, What is possible, but not if everybody's healthy.
So
they wouldn't have beat the Clippers if Kawhi would have played. They wouldn't have beat the Clippers.
Wow.
So that's just my opinion.
He had his chance. But
for me, if he wants that ring, which makes
go to LeBron's team, of course.
It's the best move.
I think you'd have to tell anybody that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If anybody was going to get a ring, and you're gonna bet your bet with LeBron and AD, but I'd rather see Dame Lillard go there. He's young. AD's still young. I'd rather see him in but I'm not a Chris Paul fan. I don't really like Chris Paul. I don't think I thought this year was the closest chance he ever got to a ring.
Chance, man.
And he played like he proved he was. This is not a winner.
So Rod he was hurt though. He hurt that left foot. Yeah, but it wasn't like I'm sorry. Rod was saying that he was Chris was hurt, but it wasn't like a hamstring like he had in Houston that time. All those other things as well. John, let me ask you this: is Chris Paul going to get a championship, and if so, will it be with the Phoenix Suns?
Well, you have to look at this. He's 36 years old, so next year he's 37. Year after he's 38, 39, 40. So if you're going to look for him for a 4-year deal, why would you do that? You really want somebody that old?
That's it.
In that kind of game, who would, I think he's played 16 years. Is that it?
Yeah.
So
Aaron disagreed. He said his time has come and gone. Aaron just said his time has come and gone. You agree with that?
Okay.
I agree. He's got 1 or 2 seasons in him, I think.
He's got me in the comment.
But would will those be 1 or 2 competitive seasons?
I think is he a top 5 point guard in the league right now? We don't have to, it's 2021. We don't have to talk about
that's easy. I think he can have that title.
36 years old, and He's going to play a couple more years. Tom Brady's what, 45, throwing the football around? You know, the way that these guys take care of their bodies and all this stuff now, it's not the same. You know, guys have 20 years, 15
Chris Paul do one more State Farm commercial, he may not be able to do it. You know how they make him turn into a basketball or something. He got one more State Farm commercial and he may be done, man. That's it.
He may be. He might be done, but he's a top 5 point. If you move away from Chris Paul, what do you get? Tell me right now. What do you secure?
Good
what
point.
do you secure in Phoenix right now? If you got this team that made it to the finals, you got Devin Booker and all these boys signed the contracts to come back next year. Who's your point guard? Because before you had the exact same players the year before this, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
Right.
This is Devin Booker's first playoff run of his career.
Yeah.
So,
I'll have to agree.
You know, what do you get with? You know, we can talk about how old he is, but what are you going to get that's better than Chris Paul for next year then?
Yeah, I'll have to agree with Aaron's point that his time is come and going. That window is so small, and unfortunately, because they could not, you know, first of all, win Game 6 and turn around and go back home and win a Game 7. It was just too much. And I just think it came down to the veteran status of the Milwaukee Bucks compared to that young team, you know, all the way around. And to John's point, it wasn't about being out-coached. It was just a young team. Devin Booker, who was clearly the other superstar on the team, just didn't have enough experience down the line. Those big plays were crucial, and he just didn't even have anything to be. There was that Giannis move, man. It was just one play. I know we talk about the block. I know we talk about everything else, but I remember just looking one time, and as a guy who loved to be in the post before I got injured, when he just banged, I think he like missed it, got the rebound, boom, went back up and banged, went right there and laid it right there, man. Devin Booker, you know, a jump shot won't do that unless you can bang in the playoffs and really get down early. It's going to be very, very hard. So I don't want to spend too much time on CP3. We'll keep an eye out for him. I want us to keep us moving. We got some other great things to talk about. Let's talk about that top 5 that are alive. Let's talk about those shooting guards, top 5 that are alive. Atlanta, I don't know if you want a piece of this action, but you are definitely welcome. But I'll
jump in and let you guys talk. I didn't prepare my top 5.
Well, let me just say this, man. I want to thank Coach Bill Carter, my junior varsity coach at Henry Ford High School several years ago, John, because it was when I was on varsity and I was having trouble, just those late practices, and I was a sophomore. My mom was like, "You got to quit." And I had to go to Coach Weatherspoon, the varsity coach, and, "Hey, man, my mama want me to quit. She said, I'm getting home too late. My grades is dropping." He said, No, don't quit. Just go to JV. I said, "Oh, yeah, go to JV." I went to JV, man, and me and my guy, Randy, Rand Woods, we got in there, and he gave Randall the ball to be the point guard. He let me play the 2 card, and I lost my mind. And my coach came up to me after that practice and said, "Lenny, I finally figured it out. You're a 2 guard." I said, 2 guards who get to shoot. And ever since then, I've been in love with it. So I'll defer to you right now. I know, Aaron, you on deck. Aaron's going to throw up his top 5 shooting guards that are alive. But, Patrick, I'll start with you, man.
It won't be superior to mine.
Out the gate without you even – y'all might have the same ones. Y'all might have the same ones, Patrick. Y'all might have the same 5. I know Aaron been sitting on his for about a week, so he been ready. So his will come up shortly. Tell me who you got, Patrick, for your top 5 shooting guards that are alive. And, Rod, if you out there, throw a couple out there, too. I wonder what Rod is thinking.
I'd like to put on the record that this is off the dome. I didn't prepare myself because
that's fine.
I want it to be fresh. Unlike Aaron, he needed that whole week to really, you know.
Okay, well, let's stop. Let's stop right there. Let's stop. Hold yours. And I know you're gonna have some integrity. You're not gonna change your list based on what Aaron put up. Aaron put Jordan.
It's the same, bro.
No, it ain't the same. I asked you if it was gonna be the same. You said yours is gonna be far superior. So you got Jordan, Bryant, Wade, West, and Iverson. Are you serious?
Mine is exactly the same. Same order too, bro. Same order.
You know what, Patrick? I know I've never known you to be a comedian. So I just, for some reason, you mean to tell me you and Aaron have agreed on the same top 5? How did that happen? Aaron says, "LOL." Hey. So why do you?
You know what my dad used to say all the time?
What?
When a scrub would hit a shot or something like that, or something crazy would happen in the game or anything, he would say, "Hey, A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Hey, and the broken clock is right twice a day. Okay, I got a twist for you guys. I got a twist for you guys. And I'll let you get some of this too, John. Let's change it from top 5 to top 4. Who got to go?
Ooh.
Okay, that's fair.
And same for you too, Aaron. If you had to pull one person off of your list, the same list that you and Patrick share, who would be removed from the list?
Ooh, I'd like to see what Aaron has to say.
There's no hate, Mike. There's no hate with you, Patrick. He's waiting. Yeah, he waiting to see what you gonna do. While they're working on that, do you have a
mine quick? I'm taking Ellie out. That's my boy.
You taking Ivo off?
Yeah, I'm taking him out here. He ain't got no ring.
But
Yeah,
wait, let me ask you though.
And that's the difference. I would take Iverson out too. No ring.
Well, hold on. Is Ivo a hybrid where he could have been on the list last week for point guards too?
Absolutely.
Well, I got a question for you then, Patrick. If Iverson
pulled out Wade, Aaron pulled Dwayne Wade out.
Right.
Okay,
but if Iverson doesn't have a ring, then why not Clyde Drexler?
What do you mean?
Oh, wow.
Clyde's got a ring.
The poor man's Jordan.
Yeah, but he had to tag along for that one though.
Who did he get that ring with?
Houston.
Oh, that short season. Oh, my bad.
And let's not forget, they had the best player in the world at the time.
They had the dream. I totally forgot about Clyde
the
getting
best
that
player
ring.
in the world at the time because Mike stepped down.
Orlando, do you know how much trouble I would have got in if I would have left this podcast and walked out into the world and somebody would have asked me if Clyde Drexler had a ring? I probably would have said no. I just forgot about that.
Yeah,
it was totally overshadowed. Wow. Okay. Okay. So we took the Dwayne Wade off of that. Hey, John, you want to get in this action on that top 5 or top 4? What do you think? That top 5 dead or alive shooting guards?
Well, I'm a East Side of Detroiter, and to leave off the ice man, hurt
because I can finger roll.
So I mean, I gotta say George Gervin's got to be right up in there, and also someone who probably nobody remembers is Sam Jones from the great Celtics team. You want to talk about a 7th game heroics old man playing in LA. The Celtics are on their last championship game with Russell and all them, and they're getting old. And Sam Jones just turns out for like 40 in the 7th game and outduels, gets Boston out to a big lead. Jerry West comes back. It's a thrilling ending, and Boston wins it. But I got no problem. Michael Jordan is, he's the top dog, and I got no problem with the list. I just keep George Gervin, my East Side guy. I got to have him up there. If he's not 5, he's 5A or 5B.
And the sad part about it is I know we're going dead or alive and we're crossing eras, but the disadvantage of not having a film on the George Gervins of the world. And fortunately, me being a Detroiter too and growing up with some guys who idolize him as well, John, when you say it, no argument here because I know. Because the guys I respected love George Gervin. They would talk about the impact he had. I mean, we would just have sessions at the YMCA when I was a young fella on the come up, and all they would do, the legend of George Gervin was in my mind. Aaron agreed with you as well. And I saw that Rod took Iverson off the list as well. But to that George Gervin piece, the reason why I can accept that with you saying that, because the man I respected playing ball, loved him so much. And I felt like I saw Gervin play, because I would just hear how he would just come and just take over a game and that attitude. And I don't even know in the current NBA, with the exception of maybe Kobe or Jordan, that anyone could project that attitude of confidence. Because what I understood is that Gervin was like, hey, it's my game. It's my game. Y'all just here. Am I right when they talk about George Gervin like that?
Well, Lindsay, I had the opportunity to coach against him. I was an assistant coach at Osborne, and we had a really good team. I had recruited these players into Osborne, and we really had a good team. And the East Side was loaded, and Kettering was outrageous. But we played
keyword recruited.
We
I heard that. It was a different time. It was a different era.
I'm not going to tell a lie. But anyhow,
Eastern Indians, King Crusaders. Shout out to that, Aaron.
King Crusaders.
Yeah, we played King at Osborne, and we were up by 1, and King had the last shot. And, his brother, Claude, was the point guard. And they had Jerry Lee, and they had another Gary who ended up playing with George Gervin at Eastern. But they're running this stuff, and no one wants to shoot the ball, and the clock's running out, and you hear, "Give me the ball." And Claude turns and fires it to the ice, and he's about, I'm going to say 27, 28 feet, and he drills it at the buzzer. And they beat us by 1.
Oh.
But I went up to him after the game, and I said, "Well, why didn't you have the ball when you at the first after the timeout?" And he said, "Well," he said, "sometimes we don't play the smartest way. So at the end, I just had to tell him, give me the ball."
Give me the ball.
And he was just an awesome
Was he a
player.
senior? Was he a senior in high school then? I know he's obviously in high school.
He was a senior in high school, and they ended up playing Kettering, which had Joe Johnson, Lindsay played up by Mr. Hairston. They had Cornell Norman, who played in the NBA, Tony Money, who played in the NBA. They both played for Freddie Stone at Arizona. It might have been some of the best PSL basketball in their history at that particular time. Northeastern had the Big Ten's leading scorer, Michael Robinson. I mean, it was just loaded. Pershing won a state championship. I mean, the East Side was loaded, and I'm not even getting to Orlando's favorite school. Northwestern was loaded.
Yeah.
Cooley. I mean, it was a phenomenal league. And to play the championship at Cobo Hall, everybody was dressed like they was going out on Saturday night.
Woo, I can imagine.
It was a show. It was a show. And the Iceman King got beat by Kettering, but George Gervin, man, I'm gonna tell you, some of the most exciting, memorable basketball I've ever seen was him.
You gotta watch his some of his highlights on YouTube from the Spurs if you ain't ever seen them.
Yeah, I know, but I just know that I got to dig him up. I know that he's not really available.
He played like me and my dad. You hang out with somebody for so long, and you go watch games together all the time. You have these terms between each other that you only understand. But me and my dad, we always say when somebody plays real cool and smooth at their own pace, like they're in their own world, I always say they hoop like an Indiana white boy, super smooth, and that's how George Gervin was. It was like I really believe, and I never heard him say this, but I really believe that in his mind he knew for a fact nobody in the world could check him, not just in Detroit or nothing like that. Like he was 6'7", 6'8", and could shoot at a extremely high level. So what guard on the wing is gonna ever be big enough? It's almost a Kevin Durant kind of thing. Guards or anybody that's underneath him, he's just gonna rise up on you and shoot. And then let's not even. This is a fact. Everybody, all NBA players, alumni, everything, greatest finger roll in the history of the NBA.
And I can finger roll.
Yeah, like
that is why I'm able to echo your comments, because that is what it was impressed upon me, that he was so dominant and so confident that nobody could do nothing with him. And it was that Detroit flavor all around. Here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take one more break. And when we come back from this break, we are going to talk about Emoni Bates and all of the excitement that took place over this EYBL weekend, include him matching up with Bronny and even in the score. Shout out to my young dog, Lando, over at he was over at Summit. I got to figure out what Lovejoy is right now. And then we'll finish up with the college football expansion talk. So we'll take one more break. I want to again thank Horatio Williams Foundation, Dick's Sporting Good and Gilead Sciences. But Team Michigan is going to take us away. When we come back, we'll talk a little Emoni Bates and some college football.
We're so happy that our son is playing AAU basketball.
Well, let's be honest. As much as we enjoy traveling with our son from tournament to tournament, who really likes sitting in a hot gym from sunup to sundown in a strange city with absolutely nothing to do?
This is just how it is. Hot gyms, tiny hotel rooms, horrible food, and nothing to do.
Well, my friend Tracy's son's team found a new series of basketball tournaments designed with the entire family in mind.
Where
Team Michigan Basketball is holding a series of basketball tournaments in Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, just outside of Traverse City, Michigan.
Well, what does this basketball tournament offer that the others don't?
A full spa, 3 golf courses, indoor swimming, playground, multiple restaurants and bars, casino gambling, great basketball shopping, and so much more.
Wow! Where can we find more information?
Their first tournament is this Halloween weekend. Tracy says visit boostball.com for information about the first tournament. Where are you going?
I'm going to call the coach. We have to make sure he signs the team up for all of their tournaments.
That's right. That's where I'm going to be, along with Orlando Watkins and several outstanding basketball players at Basketball, October 31st. Come on up. Grand Traverse is a great, great place. Hopefully we have one of those Michigan warm weather days, and I get some golf out there too. It's going to be a fun time. Okay, with the remaining time that we have, again, shout out to my guy Terry McCord Jr. couldn't be here, but we got young Emoni Bates. Shout out to Emoni. Shout out to his dad, EJ. They've been doing a whole lot, but I think there was some redemption this past weekend at the Nike EYBL. He went up against Bronny James, who's just by the name alone is one of the most popular players in the country, if not the world. His dad, famously known for not just being a great basketball player, but also known as being LeBron James, father of Bronny James, was courtside and has some things to say. Orlando, did you catch any of the pub and the talk that was going on about Emoni this past weekend at EYBL?
Just reading a little bit. So, I mean, the score is 1-1 right now in the head matchup. They squeaked it out past Bronny's team. It's amazing to me just to follow the AAU circuit. I'm not sure, Patrick, if you are any of those grassroots Facebook groups and things of that nature. The amount of press, the amount of talk, the amount of coverage, be it your national coverage to the guy that just happened to get to the game, and what they're talking about and reporting about is absolutely unreal. Absolutely, I mean, from Yahoo Sports to everybody. But hats off to both those young men and the AAU circuit and the way it's grown. It's gotten a little bit ridiculous for me, but it's still strong grassroots basketball.
And then just hearing you, Orlando, talk about just that matchup between Bronny and Emoni, I mean, it sounds like it's good for basketball. It's a great storyline. LeBron James has definitely embraced Emoni Bates. You've seen their communications, you've seen their photos or whatnot, but it seems like there's a great storyline, a healthy storyline, and I'm happy to hear that. With that being said, Patrick, I know you are very, very familiar with the circuit. You're very, very familiar with prep sports, along with all the other topics that we have. What do you think this past weekend meant for the stock, literally the stock of Emoni Bates as it relates to what his future is going to look like?
I think he's not up or down.
Not up or down?
Yeah, I think he's staying right at the top where he's at. I liked, and it's like I think it's like what my dad said. I'd like to see him play with better players. Like you guys said, he squeaked it out against Bronny. Those boys are playing up. They're in the same grade. That Strive for Greatness team is playing up. Even other players on Bronny's team, they're playing up. You're supposed to dominate somebody playing up. You're the best player. They say you're the best player regardless of class for the last 2 years. You're this, you're that. And then Bronny's 6'1". He's 6'7". Boy, you couldn't even check me. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, nothing for you,
You're
Patrick.
younger than me.
And they only won by one, right? They
Say that
squeaked
one
it
more
out by. They only won by one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see it. Just
What
like
do you mean you don't see what?
I've been saying this the whole time. With Emoni Bates, I don't see it.
Okay, I'm not trying to split hairs, but don't see what? Be specific.
I don't see this second coming of LeBron, the second coming of these great. I just don't see it
So
personally.
they got out there too soon on him, huh?
I personally think so. You know, like I don't want to take away from his skill because at the end of the day, what is he, 17?
Yeah, if that.
Okay, he's 6'7" and he's 17 years old. When I was coming up, I knew 6'7" kids couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. I knew 6'7" kids that could only play on the block and do nothing else. Okay, so he is extremely skilled for his size. He is extremely skilled. He knows how to play basketball, but there is some things that stand out to me. Like he doesn't look like like these players that are coming out of high school and going to the NBA a year later. Like look at Jalen Duran that moved above him to #1 in the country.
Absolutely.
Lindsey in Orlando, he's a specimen.
Yes. Look
at him. He's 6'10". He got cuts in all kind of places I ain't never had in my life. I'm 28. Okay. He looks superhuman. And a lot of these guys do. Jalen Green coming out that went to the G League last year. And all these boys, look at Andrew Wiggins when he came out. Or just look at these guys that you call #1 guys like they're calling him. He doesn't look like them coming out. To me, he still looks like a kid. He still looks like somebody that needs some development. He really does. And I didn't like the fact that he left that team and had to go back to the base fundamentals. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Why can't you play with these elite boys? I saw the 2 weeks that he was with them. Oh my God, I couldn't stop watching their videos. I kept showing my dad 2-3 times a day. Look at these boys. Look at these boys. It was just, it was one of the best.
You show your dad 2 or 3 times a day. You showing him a video?
2 or 3 times a day, same video. Like, bro, look at this here. You know, that Jalen Duran, I'm telling you. Oh, I don't even know why they talk about Emoni Bates. That boy 6'10", can shoot a jumper, put the ball on the deck, attack the rim at a ridiculous athletic rate. He's out of control. And they had some guards on his team. So it kind of scares me that he couldn't stay on that team and thrive. And it scared me when I found out he wasn't playing in the USA. You know, everybody's talking about these he's the best player to come out of high school in the last 20 years, 15 years.
Courtney, big fact. That's my guy, Courtney. They represent me.
They're saying like he's the second coming to Jesus. Look at Luka Doncic. When he was 17, he won the FIBA for Slovenia.
He's been on the national team. Yeah,
a country that has like 2 million people, the entire country. He playing against countries with hundreds of millions of citizens, and he come with Slovenia and won the 19 under FIBA World Championship. Emoni's not even playing.
Right.
What's going on?
Yeah. Shout out to my guy Courtney, Western Michigan. Good dude. They represent Mean Streets and whatnot. Real good guy, and they got some great things going. He said he was playing with pros at that time. His son Jacob is a great young man. Hope he gets healthy soon and can get back out there. So John, I'm watching you, man. You over there like the lottery commissioner calls you and told you your lottery ticket won. You sitting there like you got it. You sitting on it, man. What's your take on Emoni Bates showing for EYBL? And I know we had talked about this before. Does that help his stock? Does it hurt his stock? Or to Patrick's point and Orlando's point, is it just kind of all pretty much the same?
Well, first of all, it was the Peach Jam, and it was the longest Peach Jam ever. And they allowed the NBA was allowed in the gym for the first time in 10 years.
How you feel about that? Let's stop right there. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's the way things are going. When kids are going from high school to the G League, and when the overtime's offering boys money the NBA needs to be there. Okay, when there's other alternatives, when kids are going other places besides college, the NBA wanted to be there to evaluate. Now, I followed this thing closely, and I was access to 3 different scouting reports on the tournament itself, but especially Emoni Bates. And all 3 reports removed him from the status of mentioning his name in the same sentence as LeBron James. Okay. They said that he shot the ball good. He was 8th in scoring in the complete tournament. He was nowhere in the top. He was not in the top 20 in rebounds, assists. He did have averaged about 5 turnovers, which put him in the top of the turnover list, which is not good. And they said that he's fallen down his status, and they made this prediction too young. That was the gist of the reports that I read, and those were from NBA guys. Okay, now they all expect him to go somewhere next year, either the G League or overtime, or Europe was a possibility that he's definitely going to go make some money someplace. Then they said with the likeness that they thought he could make a lot of money playing college basketball. They said there was only one place in all of college basketball that they think he's going to land, and that would be Memphis with Penny Hardaway and Larry Brown. But his status fell. It definitely fell in the Peach Jam. Now, there was no spectators. You had to be a friend or family member. And
it was almost empty in there.
Yeah, the college coaches were allowed in, but the NBA, every team in the NBA sent multiple people because of what's happening now.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel that process got hijacked by the big money people with the NBA and all that, where you lost the whole?
It's just a question of what kids are doing now. I mean, if you had 3 of the top 5 players in last year's class bypass and go to the G League and sign, they got to be on board, okay? Because they have an arrangement with the G League, correct? So they're in there. So they're now going back, and they're going head to head with the colleges, and with the overtime. It's all about those pesos, baby. And it was actually, Adam Silver had banned the NBA from all the AAU stuff and the youth basketball elite. They had banned them. This year, Adam Silver, they hadn't been there in 10 years. And they're back. So, this was the most highly, and this year's Peach Jam, 11 days. 11 days was the Peach Jam. Okay, so, it was the best Nike had. Now, Adidas had their best playing in Council Bluff, Iowa.
They had the gauntlet.
Under Armour was in somewhere out west. I think they were in LA. But they tried to match it, but the Peach Jam
can't match.
Nike is.
They started so much earlier, right? Oh,
yeah. So way earlier.
Like those guys that have this Under Armour league, and then the Adidas, like they weren't far behind, but there was EYBL when I was coming up, baby.
Right.
The Elite Youth Basketball League has been what? You take that back almost probably 15, 20 years now.
Yeah. They're the big dog on the block, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well,
I think Emoni Bates does the LaMelo Ball and goes high for a year and try to get that check for potential.
I want to say one thing in closing, Lindsay. They
Yes.
did see a difference in his body. They thought that he got a little bit stronger, not to the point where they were raving about it, but they did see some growth in his muscle. They thought that he developed a little bit of muscle, very little, but they did not. You know, they mentioned what Patrick did about other guys looking bigger, but his stats across the board were not
stellar.
You know, and they published that stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah,
and his name wasn't. He averaged 24 points.
Patrick, I know you got something to add, but I just want to say, I wish we could, and I know it may be just wishful thinking, we can get to the point that we can just recognize him as being an outstanding, phenomenal basketball player and take away this expectation of him parting the Red Sea, you know, and just, you know, just being what we want to see, LeBron 2.0, because
you have to do that yourself. Now, I agree with you, Lindsay. And I loved what Devin Booker said the other day on ESPN after, I think, Game 4 or whatever. And they said, how does it feel to be the next Kobe Bryant? And he looked right in the camera and told, I should never be in the same sentence as Kobe Bryant. You know, so, you know, expectations, all this stuff, you're right. You're right. You know, and it's a shame, but that's the society we live in today.
And Patrick, I know you got something to add.
And also, he wants you to talk about it. He wants to be the number one player in the world, just like anybody else that's playing basketball wants to be.
Right.
You know, and if you want to be in the sports world, it's a world that breeds results. And when you don't breed when the results aren't very good or up to par, you're gonna get called out on them all the time.
That's why
I'm holding up a document right here. This is one of the many documents I use for my research, and this one, December 2020, the effect of using Facebook and psychosocial well-being. I mean, the reality is that for our young people, and my heart goes out to Emoni as well as his dad, EJ, because what would ever be satisfactory? What would ever be enough? You know, like he got to be able to be $100 million man, get all the endorsements. You got to be able to run into a burning building and say the babies. You got to do all these things for us to say, you know what? Yeah, we give them the thumbs up. And I just think it's just tough all the way around. And we all got to catch ourselves. I think we all have to catch ourselves. But I am going to continue to not only wear my media hat, but my sports psychology consulting hat as we think about the future, because I think that with this assessment everyone is given going forward, there's going to be so much scrutiny and criticism. And on top of that, unlike the guys on this panel who we watch what we say and we know our words we have to be accountable for, people going to say all kind of crazy mess about this young man and what's going on. And I just want, at the end of the day, I know Emoni. And if I look through my pictures, I can pull up a pre-long hairy Emoni picture he and I had some years ago when we were all building our relationship. And it just really makes me think almost like Naomi to a degree, even though Emoni has not shared his voice with us. But it makes me just think that, you know, at the end of the day, we still got to wrap our arms around him. John and Patrick, you guys got some final comments on that. I don't know if you had something else to say, but I definitely want to mention that. And also, I appreciate Courtney making this comment about show and prove what happens. Did you guys have anything else to add on that before we get to our last segment?
No, I'm good.
No.
Courtney said it. They put a lot of pressure on that young man.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good basketball player. You know, I don't have anything to take from him. I don't know him, so I can't comment on him as you take it outside of sports. I don't really, you know what I mean. Yeah. But
you know, but to your point,
I don't disagree with you, but I don't agree with you either. Like I don't necessarily feel like I got to.
Well, here's the thing. No. Let me add this. He is totally red meat. We are here on the podcast talking sports and being progressive. Yeah. Whether it's with media credentials or not, he is totally red meat. He's out there. We can talk about his game. We can critique his game. And I think everybody, for the most part, has done that. But also, I just be like, damn, man. It's like
from my
And maybe
perspective,
because he's close to us, maybe because he's not Andrew Wiggins in Canada or some kid out west. He's like native to us. He's an Ypsilanti kid, but he's still like familiar with us, you know. And I don't know, but I appreciate that. And then I think his camp has to understand that criticism is going to be there, because if they're looking at you to say, hey, we're trying to see if we're going to give you $500,000 for the G League, we're trying to see if we'll give you $1 million in a contract, we got to see what is. As my guy Courtney said, show and prove. But please, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing him, because I really do think he is a good basketball player.
I don't think you, John, or Orlando, or anyone in the circles that I roll with bashes Emoni Bates.
I think he's a really good basketball player. I really do.
Yeah. But we all have the right, that because he's in the public sphere, to critical. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get away from that. But then there are also those trolls that we know about who just live for the other part. We're talking basketball. We're talking like, and we're saying it with the backing.
Also, a big thing is, like, my dad taught me at a very early age, because I grew up in that world. I grew up in the AAU world with all these elite guys all around, and I had a pleasure of being the same age as a Detroit legend, Dennis Northfleet, who was a outrageous athlete and was built like a grown man when we were in middle school. So I've been in that world so much. I know that when you're in the 7th or 8th grade and you're talking about going to the NBA, my dad used to say, it's one of the stupidest things I ever heard in my life.
That's it.
There's so many things that happen in life before you got 10 years.
Hey, John had a look on his face like, we ain't learned.
It's so you can't put him on a pedestal like that, and I don't do that because that's what my dad taught me.
You know, it's going to come down to this young man, and it's like we said before, his ability every day to go out and get better at his craft. It's what Kobe Bryant said to Naomi. Take care of your craft.
Right.
Make sure your craft is in top shape.
Hey, Orlando, what did Courtney just say too, by the way? Go ahead, John.
Courtney, I have to agree with Courtney. He said he'll be fine in the long haul, but they did put that program on his back. They put him out front and expecting the world of such a young kid. It's the hype machine behind him, and it's, you know what I'm saying? He's a good basketball player.
We love it, though. We love it. We love it.
Also, hype, but also
it's like the Roman. It's like the Roman gladiators. It's like do that. What'd you say, Patrick?
In reality, like when you're saying you put this program on his back, like the people above him threw him to the wolves. AAU is a super team sport. That's what AAU is. Elite AAU basketball is a super team sport. You're going to play a Nike team that may have players from a tri-state area.
Okay, hold on. Let me make this one correction. Mm-hmm. Because as chair of Michigan AAU boys basketball, I always like to throw this in. This EYBL basketball, not AAU basketball.
Right. You're right.
There's a difference.
Absolutely.
We got to remove that blanket term.
You're right.
It's so worn into the.
That's true.
But it's so worn into the psyche, though, that people don't want to take this minute step back. Let us try. We'll put a pin in this, and we'll look to come back so we can check on that. With the remaining time we have, and this probably could be a segment within itself. Let's just transition for our last statement on the college football expansion. They're talking about expanding to 12 teams. Dabo, who say whatever you want to say, no matter how crazy it sounds, Sweeney jumped out in front and made his statements about that. I'll just ask you guys, Orlando, you can always throw in on this too. Is this a good idea, yes or no? What do you think about that, Orlando?
I think it's a good idea. The more the merrier. I heard they say more money, more money, more money. That's all it's about. That's all it's about.
John, you say that's a naughty idea. I'm sorry, Patrick. You say that's a bad idea. You don't agree with it?
I was saying tisk, Orlando.
Okay.
Blasphemy.
So what you think, Patrick? What do you think with the time that we have? Is this a good idea going forward?
I think it's a terrible idea.
Tell me how you really feel.
I think it's the worst decision ever in life. We keep saying that we're like this woke generation now and this woke society, but we keep doing things for solely the purpose of money. It's disgusting. I think it's ridiculous. I'm gonna start being like, I have one of the greatest men in my life is my dad's brother, my Uncle Jim. He won't even watch an NFL game because what it's turned into. Won't even watch it. Used to go to Denver Broncos game all the time. When the guy from Coors bought it, would never go to a game again. You know, it's starting to get ridiculous. What are you putting on these kids' back? Now this also could basketball. We're talking about a few more.
I was going to add, Patrick. They said this could also include potentially an additional game too.
Yeah, it's going to. And then for the better teams, if they expand it to 12, now we're talking about multiple playoff games. That, like, what are we doing to these kids? These are kids that have to play, and the NCAA ain't paying them. Even though they got the name and likeness now, they're still not technically school employees or anything like that. So why are you adding?
And they don't get a cut of that additional money, that revenue.
And then I got one comment that will sum my whole idea of it up, and then I'll let my dad go. It's gonna be real quick. College football is not college basketball. You're not about to have a March Madness. Crazy things are not gonna happen. College football, you do not put a number 1 against a number 12, and there's this wild upset.
There's a chance, there's a chance of a Cinderella outcome.
If Alabama plays, and then usually, let's be realistic. There's usually 1 to 3 really, really elite teams in college football, and then there's 7 more to make the top 10 of good teams that are good, very good teams that played well that year. But when you drop out of that top 3, like Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, when you drop out of that, the drop is far, bro. We saw Michigan State go play Alabama that first year, and it changed the program's history. They got beat down so bad. It changed the course of the entire school.
Everything.
It's not, there's these small upsets, they're not going to happen. So it's not going to be great TV, bro. They're going to be blowouts.
Yeah, they're going to run the table. You're right. So I'll say this, John, here's a question I have for you along with just your thought on it. And then can we also weave into that new breaking news we're hearing about the talks of both Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 to join the SEC. What does that play in all this, and what's your overall statement as we get ready to wrap up today's showing?
Well, I think you have to go back to Mark Emmert, who 2 weeks ago held a small press conference at NCAA headquarters and said we need to rethink our organization. So,
but I thought that was about paying players. I didn't think he was about to be like,
you know, what he said, and I watched the interview, is he said you can't compare football to wrestling. You can't compare.
As basketball. Is that Title IX? Is that going across the board? Am I saying it right? Is that saying all sports get a fair share?
Well, yeah. I mean, what I read into it is they're going to get out of Dodge. They're going to take. There's going to be your Big 10, your Big 12, your SEC, your Pac-12, and the rest of them. They're going to. You know, schools like Cincinnati and Memphis are going to have to hook up. We're going to have, you know, maybe 50 schools, and then the rest of them will stay under the NCAA, and they'll run things like they do now with the college football championship that has the old 1AA, you know, Division II and Division III state. But I think what you're looking at here, and that's what you saw when you read about Texas and Oklahoma, is that the big boys are going to come here and the Big Ten will become independent of the NCAA. They will rule themselves. They will structure themselves. The Southeast Conference will structure themselves. And that's what I think this whole thing is going towards.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the end of the day, we got to remember.
Let me take a jab at Patrick real quick. And you know why, Patrick? Because Pepsi got to sell product.
Yeah, well, Orlando, you're absolutely right, Orlando, and I agree with Patrick. And Michigan State versus Alabama is a perfect case. And here's another thing, Lindsay, that we have to watch.
We're getting a shout out, by the way, by my guy Courtney, all the way out of Chicago. I love the father and son duo on the show. Salute. Oh yeah, they're good to go.
All right, is Nick Saban yesterday, our Tuesday morning, speaking to the Texas High School Football Coaches Association annual meetings. Okay, 5,000 Texas coaches there. You know what his opening line was?
What?
Man, this NIL is something. Here's Bryce Young, my quarterback, hasn't even started a game, and he's going to make $1 million. He's almost at $1 million right now. Now, what Nicky Boy didn't tell him was that he signed a contract. Bryce Young signed a contract with the agency CAA.
CAA, baby.
Who also represents Nick Saban. So
they represent everybody. They represent everybody. CAA is that deal.
Well, Nick Saban just took out his AK-47 and he shot up in the air and he said, now, you know, I went from defense and running the ball to the spread, and I mastered all that. Now I'm going to master NIL.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. That's what he was telling the rest of them.
Hey, and send the best kids.
This all plays in to the big are going to get bigger and be separated from the rest.
And you know what I'll say on the last note, and this has been a great show. We went a full hour and a half talking about a number of topics, is that at the end of the day, just as we brought out all these business issues that are happening, we have to remember these are young people who are going to need our support. So with me putting my sports psychology consulting hat on and finding that fine line, if there's such a thing, between the profiteering that's taking place in college athletics and the development that's needed for these young people as well. Because at the end of the day, man, when they're done playing, man, when that ball stops bouncing and those cheers stop in the stadium, we got to be able to put these young people together, man, so they can be productive members of society. And I just only hope that this platform will continue to be able to be a resource. And you guys have been the greatest. You got something for us, John?
Yeah, Lindsay, remember, next time you go to the grocery store, that 4 entities control 92% of everything in that store. Remember, it's not just sports we're talking about. This is called big corporation.
The conglomerate game.
That's it.
That's what it's called.
Across the board. And we got to keep reminding our young people. So with that, guys, I want to thank our sponsors, Horatio Williams Foundation, Gilead Science, Dick's Sporting Goods. I want to thank Orlando Watkins from coming from behind the camera like the Wizard of Oz. He does exist. He's out here doing things, and he can always add his. Terry McCoy, we miss you. But John and Patrick, you guys are always showstoppers. Patrick, I appreciate your fiery, insightful statements. And John, you as well with the wisdom you bring. I'm sorry, Patrick, you had something?
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah, and shout out to my guy, Aaron Mays. Great show always. Crew Aaron, you are definitely a part of that. So with that, this is Lindsay Hudson for SPS. We'll see you guys next time. And next week, we'll do top 5 that are live, small forward. So be ready. Get your list ready. This time, Aaron and Patrick better not have the same list. Some collusion going on.
And I'm gonna leave him. And I'm gonna leave it with this to go with the last thing we were just talking about. A statement from the famous Jeff Bezos: "Get big fast."
Get big fast. Do it.
Get big fast.
With that, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.